The movie opens with three close friends, Dean, JT, and Wes, getting themselves into trouble on Halloween night. Frustrated that a neighbor refused to hand out candy, they decide to pull a prank by leaving a flaming bag of dog poop on his doorstep. However, things quickly spiral out of control when the fire spreads to the neighbor's scarecrow decoration. Despite their frantic attempts to extinguish the flames, they fail. Dean rushes into the house, only to find it empty. With sirens looming and emergency responders on the way, Dean hastily removes his underwear, scribbles the name Ricky Stanicky on it, and leaves it behind, hoping to pin the blame on an imaginary out-of-town boy. The three friends then hide in nearby bushes, watching nervously as the fire department and police arrive. A cop discovers the underwear, and the blame conveniently shifts to the made-up Ricky Stanicky. JT gasps, stunned that their plan actually succeeded. From that point on, the trio adopts Ricky Stanicky as their go-to scapegoat, using his fabricated identity to explain away every bad decision or misdeed they commit. The story jumps ahead 20 years, and the three friends are still leaning on the fictional Ricky to escape adult responsibilities. JT and his wife Susan are preparing for their baby shower with the help of Dean and his girlfriend Erin. As the event approaches, Dean receives a phone call from Ricky, actually Wes pretending, claiming that his testicular cancer has returned and that he is alone in Albany, New York. Concerned, Erin and Susan insist the guys go and support their friend. Outside, Dean and JT meet up with Wes, who is waiting in the car. The truth is, the trio is using the Ricky lie as an excuse for a getaway weekend. Their real destination, a Mark Ryer concert in Atlantic City, New Jersey. They switch off their phones after posting false updates about their trip under Ricky's name, and add new entries to their Bible of Ricky Stanicky, a collection of all the fictional adventures they've attributed to their imaginary friend. Upon arriving in Atlantic City, they head to a bar where they encounter a quirky impersonator and singer named Rock Hard Rod, who performs adult-themed comedy routines while mimicking famous celebrities. The friends are unimpressed by his antics, and JT rudely tells Rod to leave them alone. Feeling guilty, Dean follows Rod to apologize. Rod, visibly anxious, confesses that he's being pursued by two dangerous men over an unpaid debt. He hands Dean his business card and urges him to call if they ever need his impersonation skills. Rod then hides from his pursuers while Dean watches, bemused. Later, Dean turns his phone back on and discovers multiple missed calls from Erin, learning that Susan has unexpectedly gone into labor 6 weeks early. The friends rush home just in time to discover that Susan has already delivered a baby boy, Whitaker. At the hospital, Dean nearly slips up about their real whereabouts but quickly fabricates a story that Ricky faked the cancer news to celebrate 5 years of being cancer-free. JT's mother-in-law, however, grows suspicious, noting that no one in the family has ever met Ricky. She suggests inviting him to Whitaker's bris, the Jewish circumcision ceremony. The trio, fearing exposure, debates confessing the truth. Wes feels they should come clean, but Dean and JT are too scared of the consequences. Desperate, Dean remembers Rod from Atlantic City and calls him, offering him the role of Ricky Stanicky. Rod eagerly agrees. The three friends pick up Rod from the airport and, on the way home, discuss the payment, half now and half upon successful completion. They hand him the Bible of Ricky Stanicky to help him master the character. Since Wes is single and lives alone, Rod stays at his apartment. On the day of the bris, Dean and JT grow anxious as Rod is late, but he eventually arrives in grand fashion, charming everyone, including JT's skeptical mother-in-law, their boss Summerhays, and even Erin's cousin Carly. Rod expertly embodies Ricky, even impressing Summerhays with his supposed business acumen and flirting playfully with Carly. When Dean and JT ask Rod how he's nailing the act so well, Rod explains that he carefully studies behavior and personalities, having thoroughly read the Ricky Bible. Things take a chaotic turn when Rod spots Carly's ex-boyfriend, Gary Poisner, and vaguely hints at recognizing him. The trio hatches a reckless plan to spike Poisner's drink with a ketamine pill by tossing it into his mouth during a peanut-catching game. However, the rabbi unexpectedly steps in and accidentally consumes the pill instead. During the bris, the drug takes effect, causing the rabbi to botch the circumcision. Thinking fast, Rod steps in and uses Summerhays' cigar cutter to complete the procedure, saving the day to everyone's astonishment and applause. After the successful event, the friends thank Rod and pay him extra for his outstanding performance. That night, they vow at a bar to leave the Ricky Stanicky charade behind for good. But the next day, a bombshell drops. Summerhays, impressed by Rod's apparent business savvy, hires him for a key role in an upcoming merger with a San Francisco firm called World River. Dean and JT are stunned to learn that Rod is not only employed at their company but is earning a higher salary than they are. Confronting Rod in his new office, they demand he quit, but Rod refuses, insisting he's finally found a stable life. Things get worse when Dean's girlfriend Erin reveals she's working on a Hero of the Week news segment spotlighting Ricky Stanicky, unaware that he's a fake. Panicked, Dean and JT video call Wes, who reminds them he wanted to come clean from the start. During a company meeting, Dean tries to sabotage Rod by asking him for his opinion on company strategy. Clueless about the business, Rod rambles nonsense but accidentally impresses Summerhays by suggesting they create a charitable wing, leading to him being named head of the merger, replacing Dean. Frustrated, Dean and JT confront Rod again, but Wes arrives, dressed smartly, revealing that Rod has hired him as his assistant. Wes points out that unlike Dean and JT, Rod actually helped him find meaningful work. Desperate, Dean drags Rod into a storeroom and physically assaults him, threatening to expose the entire lie, including to Erin, whose news report could unravel everything. Rod confesses he can't return to New Jersey because loan sharks will kill him. Dean, emotionally overwhelmed, admits he fears losing both his job and Erin, feeling trapped in a web of lies he no longer controls. Unbeknownst to Dean, Rod secretly records their conversation. That night, Dean comes clean to Erin, only to find that she already knows the truth. As a journalist, she had investigated Ricky and discovered the deception. Hurt by Dean's dishonesty, she struggles with her feelings but agrees to publish the story on Rod's transformation. The climax arrives at a lavish event celebrating the World River merger, where Dean, overwhelmed by guilt, publicly confesses that Ricky Stanicky never existed, that he, JT, and Wes invented him as children to avoid punishment and kept the lie going into adulthood. He sincerely apologizes before leaving the venue. Though furious at first, Summerhays is soon swayed when the Hero of the Week segment airs. In it, Rod, now legally named Richard Barbara Stanicky, shares an emotional story about how the Ricky Bible inspired him to turn his life around. He describes his past poverty and how meeting Dean and friends helped him find purpose. The World River executives, moved by Rod's story, decide to move forward with the merger, saving Dean's job in the process. As the truth about Ricky comes to light, Susan punishes JT by making him camp in the backyard for 6 months. Erin forgives Dean, touched by a heartfelt recording where he professes his love and appreciation for her.